Igor, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Dave. Nice talking to you.
Well, let's start today with your giving us a brief overview of the history of the company.
Yes, the history of the company is we started by forming Diabras Mexico. With that, we bought two mines in Mexico, the Cusi mine in the state of Chihuahua, as well as the Bolivar mine in the same state. Later, we purchased the Corona company here in Peru. And with that, we formed Sierra Metals around 2012. And we've been operating with these three mines since.
So you operate three projects in two countries. Talk about the geology of these mines and what are their primary metals and how do they contribute to your revenue mix?
These three properties sit on about 110,000 hectares in prime geological country. In Peru, we have about 22,000 hectares, and in Mexico, we have about 90,000 hectares in very fertile, geologically speaking, country. And in Peru, our operation is an underground operation, polymetallic, sitting on three major faults that go along our property with lots of brownfield and greenfield potential, and which we are benefiting from. And in Mexico, we are in two locations right now in terms of operations, but we have other locations that have tremendous geological potential, like in Guerrero, in Sinaloa, as well as Chihuahua. The metals we mine in Peru are five metals. We produce a copper concentrate with silver and gold values, a zinc concentrate with silver values, and a lead concentrate with silver values. So we produce five metals in Peru. In the case of Mexico, one of our mines, the Bolivar mine, produces copper with gold and silver values quite significantly. And in the case of Cusi, it's essentially a silver mine with some lead values in the concentrate. Our production in 2019 was about 267 million pounds of zinc equivalent. And in the case of copper, we produce about 112 million pounds of copper equivalent production, while in terms of silver equivalent was close to 19 million ounces.
Describe your growth strategy for us.
The growth strategy is based on an extremely fertile geological setting. Then we put a lot of emphasis on our brownfield exploration. We put on average in excess of 60 to 70,000 meters of brownfield exploration drilling. With that, we do on a periodic basis a review of our resource and reserves and resources. This year, for example, we're upgrading once again our 43-101s, one for each mine. We already finished the one for Yauricocha, where we increased the quality of our reserves. And we're finalizing the one for Bolivar at the end of this quarter. And during the second quarter, we'll finalize the one in Cusi. And this is all the result of our brownfield exploration. We upgrade our resource base and the quality of our reserve. And then we move to the next phase, which is the mine expansions, which we have been doing on a steady basis over the last few years. Last year, 2019, we hit every mark in our expansion process. We hit 4,000 tons per day in Bolivar, 1,200 tons per day in Cusi from previous 650. And in Yauricocha, we did 3,150. But this coming 2020, we're going to stay in Cusi at 1,200. We're going to move Bolivar from 4,000 to 5,000. And we're going to move Yauricocha from 3,100 to 3,600, a 20% increase in capacity. And so all of our exploration efforts translate into new production, increased production, lower costs, and therefore benefits for our shareholders.
In closing today, I want to talk about the essential value proposition. Why should investors take an interest in your company today?
We are profitable at current prices, meaning that our operating costs are quite competitive in all three facilities, more so in Yauricocha and Bolivar. Cusi is a young mine that is still upcoming, but we'll get there. And so our realized prices in 2019, for example, exceed the market prices for all metals, and therefore we have a strong position. Just to give you an example, our cash position right now is $40 million. Our adjusted EBITDA for the first 9 months in 2019, $46 million. And our fourth quarter in 2019 was a very strong quarter. However, we haven't published that yet, so I cannot talk about it, but we are translating the expansions into economic value, and therefore that means more value for our shareholders.
Well, it's a great story, Igor. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, David.